lost on the way to you in an orange sky by the ocean blue. Every mile lost, my soul renewed, taken by the sunrise and the golden view, walking slowly in the
Hello everyone, welcome to the Let's Talk podcast. It's an honor to have you with us today. My name is Chris Root. As we pull up scripture and have an amazing conversation together, I hope that this podcast will encourage and impact you in your life in a mighty way. So what you say? Head on over. Let's talk. Here we go. Hello everybody, how y'all doing today? Welcome to the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Chris Root. It's an honor to have you with us here as always. For those of you that are new, hey, welcome. You didn't have to give us your time, but you did, and we are gratefully appreciative of it. For those of you that are new, we do something pretty every Wednesday about 7 a.m., but who knows what time you're listening to this episode here today. But hopefully everything's going well for you. But what we do is a podcast every other Wednesday, and then something inspirational in between. So with that being said, today's topic is welcome, right? Welcome home. So, welcome to be here. Welcome home, right? For those of you that aren't aware, we are on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at LT Podcast CR. That's at LT Podcast CR. Feel free to give us a little love there if you would. We greatly appreciate it. And share it. Let people know, hey, word of mouth, or share it, send a message, say, hey, you need some inspiration today. Let me tell you about Let's Talk Podcast. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and get right to it. The topic today is welcome home. I'm going to share some stories about growing up and share some stories of how God helped me through situations and stressful situations. And, with me and my family, we were stranded one day, and how God was there to help us no matter what the circumstances or situation was. So hopefully this encourages in you. But here we go. Let's get to it. Have you ever traveled far from home? You see, at some points in our lives, many of us have had opportunities to go on trips, even if it's just for a day or two. Some of us may have gone on the way to go to school or even find work in distances from where we currently live. So we may have even spent a long time there while we were searching or enjoying ourselves. See, perhaps our time away gave us a lot of joy and peace and relaxation, but at other times, though, our journeys can be unplanned and stressful. Our travels can be caused by events that prompt us to maybe force us to go and find a new location to live. See, whatever the case is, we need to know that at the end of the road, there is a place where we can belong, a place that we can call home. I want to tell you guys here today, welcome home. You see, the Christian life is like that. At times, we can journey along peacefully, enjoying the blessings of a comfort and joy that Christ brings. But at other times, we can feel stretched and challenged and even uprooted in our spiritual life. See, though challenges can help us grow in faith, we need to know that along the way, God is always with us. Thank God that we serve a God of grace and of forgiveness. He's a God that will fill us with His Spirit and welcome us to enjoy life in His presence and give us a place to call home wherever we may be. I want to talk to you guys about a situation when I was younger, right? I was just a baby, and my mom and dad were traveling, and we were in Kentucky at the time, and all of a sudden we're on this really steep hill up over by the Hazard area, and the car just broke down. Literally, just no explanation, just done. It just wasn't working. We were stuck on this hill. My dad was freaking out. My mom was freaking out. Of course, me being a little baby, I wasn't happy as well. And finally, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because keep in mind, around this time, there was no cell phones. My mom and dad didn't have cell phones. We were literally in the middle of nowhere. This tow truck just pulls up, right? You talk about timing. Tow truck pulls up, comes up. My dad's like, sir, thank you so much for being here. We're stranded. We have no place. We don't even know where to go or how to get help. He's like, it's okay. I got you. We have a place, there's a mechanic shop up the road I'm going to go ahead and I'll tow you there and you'll be good to go. So we hopped in this truck and he towed our car up there and we were able to get it repaired. Well, at the end, my dad went to the manager and he was speaking to the manager and he said, hey, I want to speak to the tow truck driver that brought us here. And the manager's like, what do you mean? And he was like, my dad gave the description of the tow truck and gave the description of the driver. And the manager looked at my father and said, sir, we don't have no one here like that. We don't even have anyone here that has a tow truck like that. So, when dad was sitting there and he looked at my mom and they knew it was God. And see, no matter the circumstances of the situation that we were in at that moment, God had us there. God was there with us. He provided for us at that time. And even the story with me and my wife, when my son was born, we went to visit my mother, and she lived in Jenkins, Kentucky at the time, and we were heading down there, and all of a sudden I was driving up that hill, and it was near the same location where my family broke down when I was just a little boy, and all of a sudden the car was slipping and something was wrong, and I got out and noticed had a flat tire in the front left side. Of all times in life, right? I'm sitting there, I got my wife and my son, our newborn son, there in the car. He's throwing a fit and she's freaking out and I'm freaking out. What do I do? I'm the type of person where it's like, okay, go to YouTube. How do you do this? How do you fix this? How do you do that? And I'm sitting there and I get the jack out of the back of the trunk and I'm like, okay, I got this. Jack up the car. I'm in the process of, taking off the tire. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're sitting there and I literally completely freak out. The entire car collapsed because we were on a hill at that moment. I didn't know nothing about putting emergency brakes or putting chalk behind the tires or anything to try to, keep it steady from going down the hill. All I knew is I got to get this tire changed and get us somewhere safely. And by the grace of God, what happened is when I was pulling the tire off, the entire car fell, and where my arm should have been, the tire jammed in there and actually saved from my arm from being pinned between the ar and the tire. And the car did end up falling down to the ground. And now what do? Now we're stuck. And I can remember back to that time when I was young, and my dad told me about the story about how they were rescued in that very moment. And all of a sudden, a gentleman pulled up in the truck and he was like, "Hey, you look like you have a problem there." And I'm like, "Yes, please help me, please. I'm a novice, help me, just get me and my family to safety." The gentleman said, "I'll be right back." He drove up the road, came back with the jack, got it up, got the car, got the spare tire on, and we were on our way. I'm telling you, when you find yourselves in a situation that's complicated, that's stressful, that doesn't seem like you know any way out or any way of rescue, I serve a God that is there. Some of you may be thinking, okay, what's this have to do with welcome home? Well, let me tell you, we have people that are all around us. Some of us have family members. Some of us has friends. Some of us know people that may have went to church at one point in time. Maybe they were hurt. Maybe they felt convicted and they never came back. Maybe they were strayed away or distracted and pulled a different direction. Who knows what happened? Only they truly know on the inside as to what's going on with their walk with God and as to why they're no longer there. But I want to encourage you today that if you're somebody that has been to church and maybe haven't been to church in a long time, or if you know someone that's close to you, I encourage you to call them, to contact them and say, "Welcome home. We want you to come home." Right? We have people that wake up and their mind is completely shattered, right? We have people that are dealing with anxiety and mental situations, and just to leave the house, they completely freak out. They don't know what's going to happen the next day. They don't know where their next meal, where their next bill is going to be paid. They don't know where their next job's going to be. They don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All they know is that time is continuously going, and yet they are losing control minute by minute, hour by hour in their life. I know people like this. I see people like this every day. I talk to people in my work every day, people that are stressed, overly stressed, have situations in their life where it seems like all they do is keep digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole, deeper and deeper, rather be into debt, or deeper and deeper into a stressful situation, and they see no way out. And they begin to panic. I want to encourage you. It's okay. Take a breath and welcome home. I want you guys to think it within yourself here today. If you know someone that needs some love and needs some encouragement, that needs to be said, "Hey, everything's going to be okay. You're going to get through this." I encourage you to contact them and just say, "Look, I'm here for you. I love you. My God is awesome. He's there to help you. He's there. My God can be a provider. My God can take the stress away. He could take the anxiety away. He could take the uncomfortable feeling away." You may be wondering, where is it that you need to be? You try to fit in all these other places around the world. You try to join this group and that group, and you try to talk to these friends and that friends, and yet you go hang out with them, yet you don't agree what they do, and something inside of you is tugging and saying, "This isn't the right situation that I need to be in. This isn't an environment that I need to be in," and yet you're completely lost, and you're like, "What do I do? I just want to feel normal," right? I just want to know that what I'm doing is correct and successful. Let me encourage you to come home. And when you walk through the doors, I hope someone says, "Welcome home." Because don't think that you've done too much to where you can't come back to God. Don't think that you've done too much to where you can't live your life back with God. You know, I want to go ahead and pull up a verse today, and I didn't pull it up yet, and I apologize. It's going to be 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1. For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of God, and a house that not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. Let me tell you something. God has a place for you. He has a place for me. He has a place. That's right. You that I'm talking to here this morning don't know where your life is, don't know what's going on, may not even know who you are, may have never even met you. But what I'm telling you here today is you may feel like an outcast. You may feel like that no one cares. You may feel like that there's nothing prepared for you. But let me tell you that God has a house for you. That's right. God has prepared a place for you and for me. Welcome home. Welcome home. If you think that, you know, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Well, let me tell you something. You need to start somewhere. I encourage you now, wherever you are, just to say, God, okay, I'm back. Help me, God, right? Help me, God. Lead me, guide me, mold me. God, help me to forgive me of my sins. God, forgive me. I went on my own way and I made mistakes. And God, I need you now to step on the scene. I need you now to lead me and guide me and direct me, God. You have to start at some point. You know, when there was a movie a long time ago, and I like to mess with my kids a lot when I tell them, I'm like, why do we fall? Why do we fall? And my son's like, well, I don't know why. And I'm like, to pick ourselves back up again, right? And some of you may know the movie that's from, but it's important, right? When we fall, we must learn how to pick ourselves back up again. We must know that it's okay. Dust it off and move on. But this time, give it to God. This time, let God fight your battles. This time, follow God. This time, hand it over to Him. How many times do we need to try to take control and try to do it on our own to where we make mistakes, and then we have excuses as to why we make mistakes and as to why things don't work? And, well, I didn't have this happen in my life because of this person or that person, because of this situation or that situation. When in reality, we don't look at ourselves in the mirror because we know that's the reason why. We trip ourselves up most of the time more than anyone else. And sometimes it gets to the point to where we bring our own excuses as to why we have our own faults. It's just a continuous cycle. But I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to try to, make you feel bad. But what I'm here to tell you is, hey, welcome home. Give it to God. If you haven't been to church, hey, go to church Sunday. Go to church on Wednesday. Go to the next prayer meeting. How about call them up? You don't want to do that? Schedule a Bible study. Let's start over again, right? Let's start from round one again in our lives with God. Because I'm telling you, He's there. He's never left you. He hasn't forsaken you. He's there. All right, guys. Well, I love you. Hopefully this encouraged you here today. And I really, really, really want you to think about maybe God may put someone on your heart here today. I hope He does. That would lead you to just call them, maybe meet up with them, go have coffee, have a dinner with them or something, and just say, you know what? I miss you. I haven't seen you. I want you to come home with me. Invite them to church. And maybe you just need to sit there and say, you know what? I know you're going through a lot. Tell me about it. I want to listen. You would not believe how many people out there are just waiting for somebody to listen. You would not believe how many of them are just waiting for someone just to sit down and not try to tell them and control them and judge them, but yet just say, tell me about it. What is it? And then once they tell you, bring them to the Master, right? Bring them home with you. Bring them to God and tell him it's okay. He's going to work it out. All right, guys, I love you all. And as always, we'll see you here at the Let's Talk podcast every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Have a good week, guys. Bye-bye.
Lost on the way to you in an orange sky by the ocean blue. Every mile lost, my soul renewed, taken by the sunrise and the golden view. Walking slowly in the mountains underneath the constellations. Yeah, I know that you've been